like it? Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody to Shelton City Commission meeting, study session. First item on the business is we're going to have somebody talk to us about a forum that's coming, and we'd like to welcome Mr. Ben Johnson to the meeting and hear about what he has to tell us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ben Johnson, Mason County Public Health. I'm a health educator. I've been there for almost 16 years. Right now I'm working on the Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition through Mason County Public Health, and wanted to invite you to a public forum we're having on September 21st. I actually have some of the flyers right there, the save the date flyers on the table over there. September 21st from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Shelton High School sub. This came about through another forum on opiates that we had back at the library, and a few of you were at that forum where Dee DePoe organized it. Chief Moody was actually on the panel that day. And normally when I think forums, a lot of times there's a lot of work that gets put into them. A lot of people have a lot of great ideas, and a lot of times they just get dropped and nothing really happens. But I got to tell you, this forum, something happened. Chief Moody was sitting on that panel that day, and some community members were asking about a drug called Narcan. And I'm sure you guys have heard some of the stories about this. But within a month or so, Dr. Yu, the county chief, or the county health officer, Dr. Diana Yu, myself, and another person I work with by the name of Joe Sanchez has been working on this project, met with Chief Moody, and he decided to go ahead and start a Narcan program. And it's a medication that stops overdose. Basically, it's like, I don't know if any of you have watched the old Pulp Fiction movie where they actually put it in the chest. Well, that's not really the way they do it anymore. This is a mist. Yes, this is actually a mist, and I just got noted. Do you want to update? Have a little update?
I came to the commission when we started this program and told you what was going on with it. Sunday at noon, we had our first incident where we used it to save somebody.
Wow!
Sunday at noon in a local park, we were the first responder to get there in a medical emergency. It was a heroin overdose. An Officer Kostad administered Narcan, and the subject was transported and was alive and well.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it sounds like most people have been fairly supportive of this, at least getting to go in and seeing what happens. Of course, we're very supportive. This forum is scheduled to get more input from our community sectors, our government sectors, our law enforcement, faith-based, school-based. I'm going around inviting everybody I possibly can to this forum so we can get input. And we're going to be, the first hour is a little bit of education. We have a couple of experts from the University of Washington coming, and we have a couple of local people. One local gentleman who is in recovery is going to talk for a few minutes. Some of you might even know him. And then the next 2 hours is going to be working session. We'll be breaking out into some treatment, if you support treatment, if you support prevention, and intervention, those types of things. So you can choose where you want to go on that day. You may not support maybe a methadone type clinic, that kind of treatment. Some people feel that that's just supporting one drug with another or something. But you might be able to sit on the prevention session. So that our goal is to come up with some ideas from our community and hopefully start to move things forward in the future, in which, we've already started. We're already doing some really nice programs. We have a few prevention programs we started in Shelton, Mason County. We have our take-back boxes that are doing amazingly well. They've been getting overfilled. We've been filling our two take-back boxes, one up in Belfair and one in Shelton. Sometimes before the month is ended, we have to empty them. So
could you explain for the public what the take-back
Sure.
box is, just for the people?
Absolutely. Our take-back boxes have been here for about 2.5, 3 years, Officer Melissa Woods from the Sheriff's Department, she manages the boxes every month and empties them, and the boxes are for any prescription medication other than liquids and sharps, so no needles and liquids. But even if you have vitamins you want to get rid of, but the goal is to get pain medication off the streets, get those opiates off the street, and get them out of our landfills too. So, a personal story, I've had pain medication stolen out of my own medicine cabinet. So the goal is to get those off, or if you have them, to get them locked up. We're going to be providing lock boxes. They're basically little cash boxes for people with families at the forum. So as they leave, they're going to be able to pick one up. Hopefully we have enough for those that need them.
Not to interrupt you again,
Sure.
but for everybody's information, do you have, where are the locations of the ones now?
Sure. The 2 lock boxes. One in front of the Sheriff's Department in downtown Shelton. I don't have that address on.
Okay.
And in front of Fire District, in Belfair. I'm not sure which one. It's down 2, Fire District 2, thank you. And it's right outside their building too. So we have 2. Our goal is to increase that. The state's goal is actually to start having pharmacies actually take prescription drugs back. It would just make it so much easier.
All right.
September 21st.
I was at one. I was at the very first one over at
Yes,
the
you were.
library. Missed the second one, but I got that written down right here, and I'm looking forward to attending.
Yes.
What was
All
the date, the time on that one?
4 to 7, and there's
4 to
going to be food provided, mostly like finger food, that sort of thing, and some drinks.
Thank you very much,
All right.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Next is our weekly commission reports, and so items that we're going to be doing this week. Kathy McDowell, did you have some things that you wanted to
Thursday, we'll be interviewing for the new financial director for Shelton, and that's an all-day thing. And Thursday night, hopefully I'll get done in time to be able to go out to the dinner at Mason Lake, the chamber event at Mason Lake on Thursday evening. So that's my week.
All right, and I don't have anything scheduled other than staff briefings. On Thursday night, I'm planning to attend the Mason Lake membership dinner at Mason Lake. And so that completes our weekly commission reports. Now is a general public comment period, so we hear from the public. And so do we have somebody? First name?
We do. Marilyn Vogler.
Okay.
Marilyn Vogler, 420 East Poplar. You're going to be hearing often and early from me about housing issues in Shelton. The Poverty Task Force a couple of years ago talked about the decades deficit we have in affordable housing. Mayor Krantz, you mentioned the last time I was up here the difficulty in building new affordable housing. It simply can't be done given today's prices for materials and labor and land and all of that. I've heard the same thing from a county commissioner, and so we're well aware of the difficulty in providing new affordable housing, even with the reduced fees. So I want you to keep in mind as well the opiate forum we just heard about. Because if you are homeless, if you don't have stable housing, if you're living on someone's couch, that makes dealing with drugs, with alcohol, all the more difficult and almost impossible in some cases. Providing housing is the basis for curing a lot of what we consider ills among populations in society. And so I want to ask you all, whatever your capacity with the city or with the public, to keep your eyes open for ideas, innovation. The mayor pointed out it takes cooperation. It takes money, it takes the city cooperation, it takes nonprofits. Browse Facebook, browse the newspapers. When you see a good idea about providing housing for low-income, very low-income people, bring it forward. And you have a variety of different capacities, work, tasks, jobs, backgrounds. So each of you will see something different as you look for ideas about how to provide housing. And I ask you to do this and keep it in mind, and I'll be back to remind you of other things in future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
And now we have Mike Olson.
Mike Olson. I wasn't able to make the last meeting when you guys had the Transportation Benefit District on your agenda, and I read in the paper that you had no public comments on it, so I thought I would come and make a comment. I commend staff and you guys for putting that together, and I like what you've done with the percentages. I think that's a great thing. I would urge you to work really hard to make this as public and as transparent as possible, what you're doing and how much you're spending and how much income you're getting, maybe perhaps a quarterly report or something on how much is coming in, because as we know, this was voted in by taxpayers, and it only lasts for 10 years. 10 years go by pretty quick, and we know that that's not going to address all the needs for the community. So I follow Facebook, and I was looking at the comments that came out when we did the Lake Boulevard. You know, beautiful street, but yet there was an air of negativity to it, you know, and you're always going to get that, but I think the more that you can let the public be involved in every step of the way, you know, perhaps some sort of a task force even on prioritizing that money when it's ready to be spent, which streets need to be paved, which sidewalks and so forth. But I think you're doing great. I like the idea that you've got it split up into little pots like that, and I think that the public needs to hear about that as much as you can when you go to pave a street or anything, because that's the only way we're going to keep people involved and knowing that the money's being spent well. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
And we have Mr. Andrew Spears.
Okay.
Andrew Spear, P.O. Box 487. Here to just talk about Ordinance 1881-0116, and that went into effect, I believe, in February. And kind of one of the things, I don't know if the commissioners and the mayor knew that was involved in that, but it was kind of retroactive. So in June, I got the utility bill for my duplex, and
Could
it
you,
was,
just for us and everything, instead of the number, just kind of explain what it is then, so.
well, it has to do with utilities, and the part that I'm addressing has to do with duplexes. So a new duplex, if it's built, would need to have two hookups instead of in the past you could do one hookup for a duplex in order to, you know, save money. So we're increasing the cost of housing by having two hookups. So I don't know if that fully answers your question. I didn't read the whole ordinance.
I just wanted everyone to know it was about duplexes, and your concern is what it was, you see, it was retro, so everyone that owned a duplex now is getting an extra fee or something.
So yeah, in June I got my duplex utility bill, and it's like, well, why is this higher? And finally, after quite a bit of research and phone calls, it came back to this ordinance. And so I don't know if it was intended for this to be retroactive, but it's so for a duplex that has one meter, that's only being 1 meter's being read and there's one bill going out, we're now getting an extra charge as if we had 2 meters on that duplex. So you know, I think utilities are a big thing in the city of Shelton. We're talking housing. From what I know, we're one of the highest rates in the state of Washington, so that's something we need to kind of address. But back to this, typically with the rate increases, there's a note with the bill that says we're such and such an increase based on ordinance that it was approved, and there was nothing with this, and so it was kind of, you know, not only a shock for the price to go up, but it was quite a bit of work to figure out why. So at least we know going forward that we need two hookups if you build a duplex, which is an added expense, not only to put it in, but monthly. But I would like the commissioners maybe to take a look at this and see if they intended for it to be retroactive in an existing duplex. So it's not costing the city anymore. They're actually getting extra money now that they're only reading one meter and sending out one bill. So anyhow, thank you.
I greatly appreciate the comment. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Anybody else?
And we have Mr. Steve Andruski.
Okay. Well, don't call him Mr. We know him as Steve usually.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners, for letting me speak. I just came up here to thank the community for what happened last Saturday. I was with United Way, and just to see the community come together. Chief, I just want to say thank you to you. And I know there were so many instrumental people in what occurred this Saturday. And I hope we can do more of this. I mean, if any of you were there, it was just so phenomenal to see the community come together, clean up a property as we did. It even made the news, which was fantastic, to show something positive that's going on in our community. It was great to see that as well. But I just want to say thank you and great work. And thank United Way for also was instrumental in making this come about. So again, appreciate everything that happened.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Steve.
Anybody else?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Have we reviewed our one item on the consent agenda?
Yes,
And are we ready for reading the consent agenda?
yes.
Okay. Could we please have that now?
The consent agenda, the Ingleside Booster Pump final acceptance, authorize the city administrator to make any necessary budget modifications.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. And I second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda passes. And now, we are on to old business, and Mike Michaels is going to talk to us about our water comprehensive plan budget modification.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner today.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you have before you this afternoon is just a request for some direction to staff, as noted in the briefing report, and I see the date was mistyped in there. It was actually July 27th. We received a letter from Department of Health with a couple issues. They want us to submit a current water shortage response plan, which we're in the process of doing, as well as committing to the regular 6-year update to our water comprehensive plan. Water comprehensive plan is like the rest of our comprehensive plans by GMA and others. It's required to be updated every 6 years. Our last one, titled the 2010 plan, was actually approved in May of 2011, and so will be expiring here next spring. There's a process and a timeline that it takes to get this done. We need to hire a consultant to do this. Health has asked that we meet, they've said October 1st actually in their letter here, pretty much any time in October really, to be able to meet the timelines for their review and approval and to get it through the commission public hearing and approval process in time to be in place to replace the one that's going to expire. So this afternoon, we're basically just asking for the commission's concurrence in moving forward in this direction so that we can put out an RFQ for consultant services. And then when that is done and we're ready for a contract, we'll bring that contract as well as a formal budget modification back at this time to cover the 2016 expenses for this.
And this was an item that we had on the agenda last week, and I had extra questions, and so I had an opportunity to meet with our city administrator and Mike Michael about this issue, and all of my questions were answered, and that in order to fulfill all of our obligations, we do need to hire this consultant and move forward with this. I also made it clear that I intend to be at Department of Health meetings when they're meeting with our staff, that I'm going to be in those meetings just as I am with Department of Ecology to make sure that we get the best opportunities for any kind of grants or any other kind of time extensions, knowing that we're coming out of a budget kind of hole. So anyway, I feel comfortable in moving this forward. Is that okay?
Yep.
We concur with that. Now, let's wait a second here because this is a budget modification. It looks like we need some public comment. If anybody wants to talk about this, which would be the opportunity, we have to allow that to happen. Not seeing a big rush to the table to sign in for that. I feel that we are ready to request a motion this. So,
Let's see. I make a motion that the commission directs staff to begin the consultant selection process and bring back a budget modification request and consultant contract when they're ready for approval.
okay, and I second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mike Michael. Is that Mike Michael or Mike Michaels?
Michael, no S.
No S.
Michael.
If I ever put S on it, I'm sorry if I did.
It's pretty common, so I'm used to it.
Okay, now there's no new business today, but at this point, there is an administration report, it looks like, and concerning the SR3 property acquisition, and again, that will be our city engineer, Michael.
Thank you again, Mayor and Commissioner. Actually, this came to light after last week's meeting when we reassigned our new city administrator some property acquisition responsibility. As the commission and the public's well aware, we've been going through the last stages of the Pear Orchard SR3 park and ride project down there, and the big piece has been the property acquisition with Simpson Timber Company. There was a realization about the middle of last week that Steve Goins had been assigned the official duty as the city's representative on the property acquisition there, with my assistance for our federal highways requirements. And now that Steve is gone, we need the commission to reassign that authority to somebody that's still here.
All right, so I would concur that that makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you there,
Totally.
Commissioner McDowell?
Totally.
Okay, so I think at this point, we're going to have you fill out those reports and sign those things. Thank you very much. And at this time, I will turn our meeting over to our city administrator, Ryan Wheaton, for any further reports.
Nothing from any staff. Last.
Okay? There is another general public comment period. Anybody want to say anything else? This is the opportunity. If not, we can have a administration final touch if there's any other that kind of goes along with what I asked Ryan before there. I would add something in this segment here. I'll talk a little bit for just a second about housing issues. Thank you, Marilyn, for bringing that forward. Being an ex-builder and being someone that's been involved in the building community and also now very much involved with the mayors of the city or of the state of Washington, housing issues and mental health issues and homelessness and drugs, it's on everybody's plate in every single city, and as the mayors of the Washington State are, we are looking into solutions, programs. My ears are up. Shelton's a little bit of a small city, so sometimes the Seattle plan doesn't necessarily work, but I believe that we do need to be open to what we can do and not do. Again, we spend millions of dollars building a homeless shelter and a couple of apartments. Millions of dollars. So to ask a private contractor, say, come up, put up these nice affordable housing that's going to meet these things, it's not just the private sector. They're not going to jump into that one probably. So there has to be some answers there, and I think that approaching it the way Marilyn talked about, that we all just kind of keep our heads open. I'm going to another mayor's kind of a whatever little exchange here in a couple of weeks or so. Again, same issues are what are they doing, what programs are they working, what can we do. I do look to things like United Way, and obviously we do have a lot of things in practice right now to help some. I know that the Housing First for veterans through the county is something that will be a step in that direction. I do know that we do have that brand new homeless shelter. We have these apartments there. I do Habitat for Humanity is building houses again, and they're going to be doing that. But there is what I see is the big need for very low income, even lower income than low income, and that obviously housing. We just have to have a way that it's going to work. And so, anyway, we are looking into that. I am looking into it. It's something I think we can agree to that it is something that the city could use. Also, I will take this opportunity just to say that We started an abatement process here with Steve Goins, many years ago, and we went through our first 10 houses. We have 10 more, and that when we get staff kind of up and running and stuff, we want to continue with the abatement process, and I do believe that that's something else that could help in help our city look a little bit better in a better light. So that's all I had on those little administration touch-up. Anything you want to share, Kathy McDowell?
Nope.
Okay. So our next meeting will be August 29th at 2 p.m.?
Yes, because it's the fifth Monday.
There you go. So it's not in September yet. So another day meeting, August 29th, 2016. This meeting's adjourned.